in whatever you do as a health provider, my question to you is, are you also a content creator? So, hello, my name is Lisa Hanfileti, and I help healthcare practitioners, self-employed service-based providers, leverage the online space so that you can reach more people that you want to help. You can earn more income and do it all preserving your time so you can also preserve your sanity. And if this is your first time here, please go ahead and say hello in the chat. Let me know what kind of practitioner you are or where you're watching this from. So I always like to connect with people, and I'm one of those people that you can reach out to. I'm a real person, so go ahead and say hello in the chat. What I want to do today is provide you with some information that might change your idea of what a content creator is, and also help your business in ways that you may not have imagined. So the first thing I want to do is kind of dispel some of the myths of what a content creator is, and also give you some outs. In other words, give you a way to think of it differently, so that if your hair just bristled on the back of your neck when I brought up being a content creator, you can rest assured that we can call you something else that doesn't feel like it's very intimidating. So let's start out just by defining what is a content creator. And for this, I went to AI and I just did a search. This was on Perplexity. So a content creator is someone who produces educational, entertaining, or informative materials such as videos, images, writing, podcasts, or graphics for public distribution, especially on digital platforms like social media, blogs, or websites. So if we break this apart just a little bit, I think that the thing that probably appeals to you is the very first part here where it says produces educational content. So producing educational content, I think that you can get on board with. Entertaining content probably makes you want to like spit up a little bit in your mouth. You probably don't want to have anything to do with that. Informative material you can get on board with. And then the formats we can talk about later, but videos is a common way to do it. Images, posts, writing blogs, writing articles, podcasts, that kind of thing. So this is the first step in just kind of understanding what a content creator is. And I wanted to also just give you a little bit of history here because content creator was not something that was around as a job or a way to make a living that long ago. So let's talk about the Bureau of Labor and Statistics in the U.S. does not currently list content creator as a distinct job title. However, content creators they've been around for a long time. They've just been called, or they fall under the category of media and communication occupations. So roles that encompass writers, editors, videographers, and other digital media professionals. So they've been around for a long time. This isn't anything new in that sense. It's just that we have a greater platform, the internet, a lot of social media platforms to be able to put this content onto. So if you think about how this is used for businesses will hire content creators to sell services. So if you have a service-based business like we all do, in other words, services is something that you provide. So a hair salon owner provides, haircuts. They have to be present in order to sell a product. It's not like selling shoes. You don't have to be present in order to sell shoes. Shoes can get delivered and packaged. But when you're selling your services, you, the owner, the person who's providing those services, has to be present. You can use it to attract new clients, and you can use it to promote your brand. So this is kind of the common ways that businesses will hire content creators to get the word out. And the word out means advertising, and that means more people are seeing you and they will buy your services. They'll come see you. So that's obviously a good thing. So one of the things that I often will hear from people is, what's the difference? Or, they associate content creator with influencer. And I'll just, have a little brief comment here that influencers are thought to be a subset of content creators. And they're often hired to help build personal brands, and then they will monetize their reach. So they are independent contractors that are often hired to help other businesses promote their brands. So they often will work behind the scenes for businesses without a large public following, but most of the ones that we think of are those that are very notable because they are not behind the scenes. They are actually in front and doing it in a public way, because the more attention they get, the more followers, the more people will then listen to what they're saying, and they're able to influence them to make purchases, things like that. So when when I'm talking about content creator in the context of healthcare providers, I'm not leaning you toward the direction of influencer. So don't worry. You could do that, but that's not the direction that I'm talking about. There's some new terminology around this, and that is the creator economy. This is a relatively new concept. And so I just want to give you, again, a little bit of history here, because I think from a business perspective, this is really important that you understand it, especially if you are going to lean into this as a way to promote your business. So, and I just went back a little bit in history here. So in 2015, the idea of paid content creation was emerging, but creator platforms and monetization options were limited. This is what I want you to pay attention to. The total of content creators was around 10 million globally. 10 million globally. Okay. By 2025, so 10 years later, over 207 million people are considered creators. And that's in the professional sense. In other words, they're getting paid for it, with roughly 45 million identified as full-time professionals. So there are people making a living, a good living, as content creators. And I just want to see in 10 years, we went from 10 million to 207 million. And that is only growing. I think that the projections for 2027 are close to doubling that. So this isn't going away. This type of promotion and advertising is not going to be going away. Here we go. The creator economy. This is like the real numbers, the dollars that are behind it. So we've got the number of creators, but what's the dollar amount behind all this? The dollar amount here is that the creator economy was worth approximately $250 billion in 2024 and is expected to nearly double in just a few years. I mean, this is crazy. So there's a need for it. There's a desire for it. People are paying for it. Businesses hire content creators for marketing, for outreach, for brand development, and for selling products and services. So you could hire content creators to create content for you to promote your business. I'm going to suggest that there's a less expensive and smarter way to do this. Let me move out of the way here. So healthcare practitioners as content creators can create educational content that enhances public understanding and trust. Their professional expertise ensures reliability and credibility in the health communication. So that's a very kind of like dry way of saying, holy crap, you can educate the public and at the same time increase your trust factor out there in the marketplace, so that when people look you up, they already see you as someone trustworthy, as an expert, as someone who's reliable, as somebody who's credible, and in providing health information. I can't think of a way to get yourself more quickly into a space that is going to serve you than showing up and providing this kind of educational content. So healthcare practitioners as content creators can provide, accurate information. So there's a lot of misinformation out there. We're all pissed when there's misinformation out there that we know is hurting people. So how great is it that we're able to respond to the type of information that's out there and give our 2 cents based on our background, our expertise, our experience in treating people, to be able to correct that information that's out there in the public domain. And again, this is the same idea as combating that information. You can look at it as combating misinformation and then providing the accurate information around that. In this way, again, it brings you to the forefront as a credible expert. So it's not only serving people, which, your goal is to help people. It's not only helping them, but it is putting you out there in a way that they can then see you, hey, this person knows their stuff, And you didn't have to do it by going out there and saying, these are my credentials. This is where I went to school. This is how many certifications I have. You don't have to do any of that. Just by showing up and by providing information, you're able to help people provide that kind of public education in a way, which I think is probably, one of the greatest services that we can do as practitioners. And so I want to know, what is stopping you from creating your own content, especially when we have platforms that are free and have millions and millions and millions of, I will say, not just subscribers, but viewers every single solitary day. So you have multiple platforms to choose from. I don't recommend going on them all. You can choose whichever one you like or you use. I would say do a little bit of research and make sure that your target market, the people that you want to communicate with, are on that platform. That's a really good idea. If you had to choose from all of these, I would say my favorite one is, you take a guess, it's got to be YouTube. YouTube is also a search engine, so it's nice that people look up things in there. I will get into that more on my next episode, where I give you a very easy way to create content. I call it my content creation ladder, even though it's steps, but it's the way I wrote my first book back in 2007, 2009 rather. So I will show you exactly how I did that, and it works as well as it did back then. It works today. Actually, I'd say even better, because you have so many more options for how the format that you put your content in. So I will do that next week. So what I want to do right now is give you some ideas of, well, if you take on this task if you accept this mission, right, of creating content, and you can call yourself an educator if you're not comfortable with the word content creator. You are an educator. I want to give you some ideas of the types of content that you can create. So your content can come from, I would say, schooling is one of, I think, the best ways to just lean into. And in fact, I have a whole training that's just for students who are still in school, learning whatever skill, if they're in acupuncture school or massage therapy school or functional medicine school, whatever training you're in, I would ask me for this video training that I have on how you can organize and make sure you have all of this stuff that can be used as content creation later on when you are in practice and you want to attract the clients that you want to work with. But in your schooling, just think about the things that you did. I wrote a thesis. I wrote a master's thesis, and you know where it is? It's in some dusty library, a hard copy. It's not even online. My school didn't even put it online in the library. That's a shame. We all did these great, really I'm terrific master's thesis, and that information should be out there, even if it's just cropped into pieces that you can educate the public about, whatever it is that you researched. Different projects that maybe you presented in class, research articles and things that you put together and maybe you presented in class, any kind of reports that you did, case studies of people that maybe you treated or that you learned about or that your professors taught about. These things are really valuable and can be great information for people that don't know these things. The history. So, I'm fascinated by the history of Chinese medicine and acupuncture and herbalism and where it came from, and the Yellow Emperor's Classic and how, did that come about, and then the information that's in there and how that can be applied today. So this type of information, if you're really loving it, this can be great stuff to be able to put online so that others can learn about it too. And again, you get to show your enthusiasm, your passion, your understanding of these kinds of things, and come across as a very credible expert. That's what you are. Any experiences that you had in clinic, maybe as an intern, these are things or experiences that your professors have. These are very valuable. Aha moments that maybe someone you were treating had, aha moment that you had, things that you didn't know before that you know now. I remember being in acupuncture school and learning things and feeling like, gosh, if everybody knew this, if everybody knew that we have this, these energy meridians in our bodies that can be influenced by pressure to help alleviate pain and headaches and things like that, like the world would change. So these aha moments are really important, not just the ones that you have, but other people around you. And you can share those types of things online in different formats. And again, I'll get into the different formats on our next podcast. If you're in practice right now, there are lots of areas that you can come up with content. And so I would give yourself this challenge to just write down, just track, what is it that you're telling your clients or your patients every single day? Like, what are the things that you are saying over and over again to them? What handouts are you giving them? What kinds of checklists do you give them? What do's and don'ts do you tell them to do before and after a visit with you? Like, are you talking about hydration? Are you talking about, going outside, walking, those kinds of things? What recommendations are you giving them about their diet? Are you telling them to be careful about sugar? Are you telling them to read the ingredients in every package so that they don't have hidden, carcinogens or things in there? Are you talking to them about nutrition? Are they asking you questions about that? It's my next one right over here. What questions do they ask? But are you recommending certain exercises or activities? Are you talking to them about the environment that they're in? The possibility of mold or toxicities? Are you talking to them about what they're putting on their skin? Are you talking to them about relationships and how those things are going, and our connections and how that influences our physical bodies and how things manifest in us? Are you talking to them about trauma, past trauma, current trauma? Are you talking to them about sleep and giving them recommendations about sleep hygiene? Are you talking to them about stressors, different types of stressors, and how to alleviate stress? So these are things that you can actually make a list of, the types of things that you're telling people every day. I know that when I was in practice, I finally made a video for people because I was so often showing them a very simple therapeutic exercise in Chinese medicine, it's called liver cleansing, but it would be a de-stressing, a way to help alleviate stress in the body. And I would demonstrate it to my patients one-on-one. And I finally just did the video so that I didn't have to, I wouldn't say waste time during the treatment time to show them that, but I would say it made me happier to not have to keep repeating it over and over again. And then after the treatment, I could then send them a link to the video so that they had that and they could watch it and then ask me questions next time. So it did save me my sanity, I would say, around that. But there are a lot of things that I said over and over again. There are a lot of handouts that I had, and these are all things that can be content that we can put online. And then ask yourself, what are your patients asking you every day? So this is what you're telling them every day, but what are the kinds of questions that keep coming up? Because these are great ways to put stuff online that other people are also asking. And like I said, YouTube is a search engine. So if your patients are asking you things every day, there's a good chance there's a whole lot of other people that are asking the same questions. So your answer to that, your response to that, can be something that you can put online. So are they asking questions about specific conditions that you are an expert in, or that you have expertise in and that you've been treating, and that you can give them some unique information? Are you clarifying confusing information? So this is what I had said earlier back here, where there's stuff that's, on the internet, stuff that's on the internet that you want to combat, right? Stuff that is in the media that is not accurate, and you want to be able to give them the right information. And so are they asking you about those specific topics as they come up in real time? Or is it just kind of like myths that have been generated, that have been debunked, that maybe they don't know about yet, that you can help them understand? Are they asking you about specific modalities that you do? So this can also be really beneficial in in my practice, people might ask me about cupping, which is part of Chinese medicine that we do all the time, or moxibustion, which is burning an herb that can look really weird when you burn an herb on somebody, or gua sha, which is a technique that a lot of people use now, but these are all techniques that we use. And so being able to provide extra information, more in-depth information about the history of it and why we use it and what it's doing in the body, can be really beneficial. Why there's bruising, there's therapeutic bruising. So getting into that discussion and helping people to understand why these things happen. So those are just a few of the ideas that I've come up with to help you come up with the idea that you have a lot of information in you that can be used in the online space, that can be formatted in a digital way so that other people can access it anytime from anywhere. And again, it bolsters your credibility. It shines a light on you where others might not know you exist. They can find you, and it's a win-win for everybody. And I'll just tell you this quick story. I've told this several times before, but in Chinese medicine, there's the story of the 3 levels of doctor. And by doctor, I'm not talking about, an MD specifically. I'm talking about anyone, any healthcare practitioner. So there are 3 levels of practitioner. And I will tell you, in the Yellow Emperor's Classic, they categorize it as like the inferior doctor and the mediocre doctor and then the superior doctor. So I don't want to call anyone inferior, but I'll say the first level of doctor is the doctor who treats the symptoms of the disease. So the first level of practitioner is alleviating the patient's, very dire symptoms, like if they've got allergies and they're sneezing all the time, they're itchy, watery eyes, and they can't go to work because they can't do their job. That first level of doctor is alleviating those symptoms, and the patient is super happy about that. And I can tell you, true confession, I've spent probably most of my career working at that first level of doctor, the inferior doctor. That's where I was but patients love it. When they get rid of symptoms that are impacting their life, they're thrilled, right? So there's a lot of praise around alleviating the symptoms of a disease. The second level of doctor, kind of like the mediocre one, but the one that's better than the inferior one, that level of doctor, practitioner, treats the root cause of the disease. So in the case of allergies, now we're talking about dietary stuff, and we're helping, remove toxins and opening up detox pathways, and we're making sure that they are in an environment where they're not, subject to the allergen itself. And so we're treating the root cause of the disease. And again, the patient's thrilled, right? Because now they don't have these allergies anymore, and they can do other things that they weren't able to do. And so not only do they not have the symptoms anymore, but now they're not getting as impacted, even when they're around the allergen. So great. Perfect. Now the superior, the what we call like the master, in the sense that we've mastered the information, and the guru, the sensei, that level, the highest level of doctor, of practitioner, is the practitioner who educates the patient so they never get the disease in the first place. To me, that is the content creator. That is the educator. That is the opportunity to teach people all of these things that can help them prevent the disease in the first place. And I'll tell you something about this. The patient is not thrilled with this level of doctor. And the reason is because a lot of the education has to do with prevention and what changes you need to make in your life in order to prevent the disease in the first place. And there's not a whole lot of motivation to change what you love doing Like there's not a lot of motivation to exercise to prevent something that isn't bothering you, right? so so education really needs to be something that we put forth with some degree of authority, and having that history and experience behind us when we're sharing the information that we've learned, not just in textbooks but in working with patients, is critical. So putting that out there is what I would say is the highest level that we can achieve by sharing what it is that we've learned. And I'm curious to know if this is landing for you, and then if you could see yourself creating content that I'd say makes you excited. I know when I was in school in particular, we were in this really safe bubble of being able to talk about medicine and theories and chi, and do it in a way where everyone was really excited. Now you get outside that bubble and people think you're nuts, right? Sometimes it's your own family think you're crazy. And so transitioning from where you have all of that support and understanding, and then taking that information and putting it out there in a way that people can relate to, it is a skill. And so educating people in a way that brings them in and doesn't polarize them, it's a skill, and it takes time to figure out, like, how are you going to communicate? And those of you who are already treating clients and patients, you have this skill because every single day you're recommending different things. One-on-one in the treatment room, you are brilliant. You're able to communicate and give these types of this type of advice and provide this type of information, and your patients, I know, love you for it. So taking that and then translating it into a video or a document or a piece of content that's going to appeal to other people is an experiment. You put it out there and then you kind of can track and see what happens. And again, in the online space, we have a variety of different ways to do this. So next week, or in 2 weeks, the next podcast, I'm going to show you some really, really easy ways to create content, whether you are a writer. If you're not a writer, that's fine. Maybe you're auditory and you prefer to tell stories or explain things just by talking, or maybe you love doing video. If you love doing video, definitely let me know, because you're in the 1.1% of people, because nobody loves doing video that I've met. I don't even love doing video, but I can tell you video is my favorite way to teach. It's my favorite way to put out content because I think it's the easiest way for people to consume. So in the next podcast, which is going to be 2 weeks from today, same time, I am going to show you some of the easiest ways to create content, whether, again, you prefer writing or you prefer just talking it through. I will also give you, my recommendations for ways to package it and then platform to put it on. So I hope that this has been beneficial for you. I would love to know what it is that you think of when you think of content creator. And now that you've watched this and kind of learned a little bit about the history of content creator and what it is, if you can either wear that label, or we don't have to use that label if it's uncomfortable. You can always go with, I'm an educator. I'm the highest level. I'm the superior doctor. You can call yourself the superior doctor, which is the one who educates people so that it prevents disease in the first place. Like, what greater calling could that be, to help people so that they don't get sick? I mean, that's why we're here, right? To help others. So I hope this has been helpful. Again, I'm Lisa Hanfileti. This is the Love Your Livelihood podcast, and I look forward to seeing you on the next podcast. So thank you so much. And I still don't know how to end a podcast, so let me see if I can do it here. Have a great day.